What if I told you that some of reggae's most famous artists, even with their success and fame, still lived poor, as if they were working on the streets? From Bob Marley's legacy to I. Hit's success, these reggae legends stay grounded in a way that reflects their roots. Here are 15 reggae artists who live simply, staying true to the message of their music. Bob Marley. Bob Marley was born on February 6, 1945, in a small village called 9 Mile in St. Andrew, Ann Parish, Jamaica. His mother was a young black Jamaican woman, and his father was a much older white British man who wasn't around during Marley's childhood. Because of this, and because his mother struggled to support them, Marley grew up in poverty. He first lived in the countryside and later moved to Trenchtown, a poor neighborhood in Kingston known for its bad living conditions, including dirty streets, not enough food, and violence. Even with these tough beginnings, Marley stayed hopeful and determined. He left school when he was 14 and worked for a short time as a welder before choosing to follow his passion for music. His early days in the music industry were hard, as many Jamaican artists were treated unfairly and paid very little, even if they were popular locally. As Marley's music gained attention around the world, he started selling millions of records. Some reports say he earned as much as 1/10 of Jamaica's total income at the time. But even with all that success, Marley stayed grounded. He didn't care much about getting rich. He once said, "I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever." He truly lived by these words, choosing a simple life and staying close to his roots. This approach was closely tied to his Rastafarian beliefs, which focused on spiritual growth rather than material things. Marley's lifestyle reflected his beliefs. As a Rastafarian, he wore simple clothes, grew his hair into dreadlocks, and avoided fancy things. Even when he became famous, he dressed casually and lived in a humble home in Kingston, which has since been turned into a museum. His songs also showed his beliefs and life experiences. Tracks like No Woman, No Cry, and Get Up, Stand Up told the stories of poor and struggling people, much like those he grew up with. Marley believed deeply in justice and unity. He even survived a shooting attempt just days before performing at a peace concert in Jamaica. In his final years, while battling cancer, he kept making music and performing not for money, but because he believed it was his purpose. Although Marley's music made over $190 million in sales around the world by the time he died, he didn't keep much wealth for himself. He shared a lot of his earnings with his big extended family, band members, and people in need. He was well known for his kindness and for always helping others. Lord Creator. Lord Creator began his music career in Trinidad as a calypso singer. In the late 1950s, he moved to Jamaica, hoping for better opportunities in the country's growing music scene. His first big hit in Jamaica was Evening News in 1959, a song about a barefoot child selling newspapers. The track resonated deeply with Jamaicans, especially as the country prepared for independence, helping Lord Creator gain recognition not only for his singing, but also for addressing real-life issues. Moving to Jamaica marked a key moment in his career. He quickly became a beloved figure in the reggae scene. His 1962 song Independent Jamaica became an anthem for the country's independence and was also the first single released by Island Records. He went on to release more hits, including Don't Stay Out Late in 1963 and Little Princess in 1964, which further solidified his popularity. His smooth, elegant singing style brought something unique to Jamaican music. In 1970, he released Kingston Town, a song produced by Clancy Eccles that later became one of his most famous tracks. UB40's 1989 cover of the song introduced it to a whole new generation of fans. However, as musical tastes shifted and new artists emerged, Lord Creator's popularity declined. By the late 1970s, he was rarely seen in the music world, with only a few releases like Life in 1977. His fading career led to serious financial struggles, and at one point, he was reportedly homeless. A famous story tells how after UB40's hit version of Kingston Town, producer Clancy Eccles found Lord Creator living on the streets of Kingston. Initially, Lord Creator thought Eccles was coming to collect a debt, but instead, he was told about royalties from the UB40 cover, providing him with much-needed financial relief during a tough time. Tikinja Fakoli. Even though Fakoli's parents didn't support his dream of becoming a musician at first, he didn't give up. By 1987, he had started his first group, Jealous, and began performing at local events, slowly making a name for himself. His big break came in 1996 with the album Manger Crady, which connected strongly with young people in Ivory Coast because it spoke honestly about political and social problems. Fekoli's songs, often sung in both French and local languages, became like anthems for people who felt left out. He talked about serious issues like corruption, poverty, and the lasting effects of colonialism. Albums like France-Afrique, 2002, African Revolution, 2010, and Racines, 2015, made him even more popular and respected, especially among those who felt their voices weren't being heard. His music, inspired by reggae legends like Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, mixes reggae with traditional African sounds, creating music that feels both global and deeply African. Even though he has toured around the world and sold many albums, especially in France, where he is one of Africa's top reggae stars, his lifestyle has stayed simple. He is believed to be worth around $500,000, which is much less than what many famous musicians have. This shows that he has chosen a life focused more on staying true to his values than on chasing wealth. He remains closely connected to his roots and lives a modest life, even while performing on some of the biggest stages in the world. Gregory Isaacs. Gregory Isaacs was born in 1951 in Fletcher's Land, a tough neighborhood in Kingston, Jamaica. After his father left, he was raised by his mother. His music career started in the late 1960s with his first song, Another Heartache, but it didn't get much attention. Still, he didn't give up. In 1973, he teamed up with Errol Dunkley to start the African Museum record label and released My Only Lover. The song was a big hit and is known as the first lovers rock track. This success kicked off a busy period for Isaacs. He released popular songs like All I Have Is Love, Lonely Soldier, and Loving Pauper, quickly becoming one of reggae's top voices. Working with famous producers like Lee Scratch Perry, Alvin Ranglin, and Gussie Clarke helped boost his career even more. By the late 1970s, Isaacs was a global reggae star, standing alongside big names like Dennis Brown and Bob Marley. Even though he was famous, Isaacs faced many challenges in his personal life. He opened a record shop called Cash and Carry in Kingston, managed his own label, and toured across the US and UK. But the money didn't always follow the fame. He signed deals with big labels like Virgin's Frontline and Island Records, releasing well-loved albums like Cool Ruler, Soon Forward, and the classic Night Nurse. While Night Nurse became a reggae favorite and was played often on the radio and in clubs, it didn't bring in huge profits or high chart success. Isaacs also struggled with addiction, which caused serious problems. His substance use led to many arrests, reportedly about 50, and time in jail, which hurt both his finances and his music career. These troubles became widely known and added to his image as the bad boy of reggae, as described by music historian Roger Steffens. Over time, the effects of substance abuse showed in his health and made it harder for him to benefit from his fame. Still, Isaacs kept making music through the 1990s and 2000s. He worked with younger artists and kept up with new trends, but he continued to live simply. His African Museum label stayed active, but the big financial rewards one might expect from someone of his talent and reputation never really came. Roy. After finishing school at Dinthill Technical College and working as an accountant for the Jamaican Civil Service, Roy became drawn to the growing sound system scene in the late 1960s. He started his own system called Soul Bunny, and quickly gained attention for his smart, funny lyrics and quick thinking on the microphone. These skills made him a favorite in Kingston's lively and competitive sound system world. His big break came when producer Harry Moody brought him into the studio. This led to hits like The Drifter, Heart Don't Leap, and his first solo song, Musical Pleasure. These early songs made Roy a key figure in the new DJ style, and he became a regular on the sound system circuit, working with almost every major crew in Spanish Town and beyond. In the early 1970s, Roy's career took off. Albums like Presenting Roy, 1973, and Hell and Sorrow showed off his mix of humor, social messages, and pop culture references. He stood out from other DJs like Roy and Big Youth because of his clever storytelling. He often mixed in nursery rhymes and movie lines, creating a style that was uniquely his. his playful back and forth with Prince Jazzbo, through a series of slanging match songs, caught the public's attention and made him even more popular. I-Roy's fame also reached beyond Jamaica, especially in the UK. He toured widely and performed in clubs like the Roaring Twenties, supported by top British reggae bands like Matumbi. He recorded many albums and singles, especially during his peak years, with labels such as Trojan, Frontline, and Virgin. However, despite all his work and success, I-Roy's financial life was unstable. Even when his records sold well in the UK, he didn't earn much. His name was sometimes left off production credits, especially when he worked as a house producer at Channel One Studios, which limited his earnings even more. By the 1980s, as DJ music became less popular and reggae began to change, I-Roy's career started to decline. His albums didn't sell as well, and personal problems and health issues began to affect him. Though he continued to release some music into the 1990s, his later years were marked by hardship. He faced serious challenges, including the loss of family members and his own illness. I-Roy passed away in a hospital in Spanish Town on November 27, 1999, at the age of 55, after spending his final years in poverty. Buju Banton. Growing up as the youngest of 15 children with a street vendor mother, Buju Banton, born Mark Myre, experienced economic hardship from an early age. His nickname, Buju, is a maroon word for breadfruit, a staple Jamaican food, while Banton denotes a master lyricist, both names hinting at his roots and talent. Like many Jamaican artists, Buju's musical journey began on local sound systems during his teenage years. By 14, he had recorded his first single, The Ruler, and quickly gained national attention with hits like Stamina Daddy and Love Me Browning. In 1992, his album Mr. Mention broke Jamaican sales records and earned him more #1 singles in a single year than Bob Marley himself. Buju's sound evolved over time. Albums like Till Shiloh and Inna Heights marked a significant shift toward roots reggae, combining dancehall's fire with socially conscious lyrics. These works solidified his status not just as a dancehall star, but as a profound and visionary artist within reggae. Despite his fame, Buju's financial life was often more modest than expected for someone of his stature. In the 1990s, he became one of the top earners in Jamaican music, yet industry pitfalls and personal challenges chipped away at his financial stability. His efforts to gain creative independence, launching Gargamel Music and building his own studio, showed entrepreneurial spirit, but didn't fully protect him from the broader economic realities many reggae artists face. A major blow came in 2009 when Buju was arrested in the United States on substance trafficking charges. His 2011 conviction resulted in a long prison sentence, abruptly halting his career and causing major financial setbacks. During his time behind bars, Buju's income and assets declined significantly, and he leaned on his support network to keep things afloat. Though he won a Grammy for Before the Dawn while incarcerated, it was collected by a friend, an ironic symbol of how far his personal situation had diverged from his artistic success. If you are enjoying this video, appreciate it by giving it a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, Protoje. Protoje started his music career in 2005 with a mixtape called Lyrical Overdose Volume 1, which had a strong hip-hop style. Later, he moved more into reggae and dancehall. Working with his cousin, producer Don Corleone, he released early songs like Dread, J.A., and Roll. His first album, The 7-Year Itch, came out in 2011. Songs like Arguments and Rasta Love with Kiamani Marley made him well known in Jamaica. His next album, The 8-Year Affair, and the song Kingston Be Wise, featured in the game Grand Theft Auto V, helped him gain international attention. As he became more popular, people started to notice his deep and socially aware lyrics. He led the band The Indignation and spoke out about the issues facing young Jamaicans. His third album, Ancient Future, reached #1 on the Billboard Reggae chart and included the hit song Who Knows with Chronix, which earned a Silver Award in 2022. Albums like A Matter of Time, which got a Grammy nomination, and In Search of Lost Time strengthened his global reputation. He performed at big festivals like Coachella, Glastonbury, and Lollapalooza. Even with his success and world tours, Protoje has stayed humble and avoids flashy living. He values creative freedom and supports upcoming artists through his label Indignation Collective, helping talents like Lila Ike and Savannah. In 2020, he signed with RCA Records but stayed focused on creating opportunities for others. Protoje doesn't show off wealth or luxury in public. He comes across as thoughtful and committed to the future of Jamaican music. Releasing part of his fourth album, royalty-free for free, shows how much he cares about keeping his music accessible and staying true to his values. Dennis Brown. Dennis Brown was born in Kingston, Jamaica in 1957 and grew up in the Waterhouse neighborhood. Surrounded by music from a young age, thanks to his father's record shop and sound system, he quickly showed talent. By the time he was 11, he was already recording at Studio One with the well-known producer Clement Sircoxone Dodd. His first song and album, No Man is an Island, became a hit in Jamaica and made him known as a rising star. In the 1970s and 1980s, Brown's music career took off. He released several popular albums like Wolf and Leopards and Visions of Dennis Brown, and had hits such as Money in My Pocket, Westbound Train, and Here I Come. He was known for his smooth voice and ability to sing both deep roots reggae and romantic lovers rock. He also helped younger artists like Richie Stephens and Luciano get their start. Bob Marley even called him his favorite singer. Over time, Brown released more than 75 albums and performed around the world. But despite his fame, Brown didn't make as much money as people might think. Like many reggae artists, he signed unfair contracts and didn't always get paid what he deserved. When Trojan Records, a major label, shut down, Brown and his manager lost money. Other record deals also failed to give him financial security. Even when he had chart success in the UK, the money didn't match his popularity. He tried to take control by starting his own label, DEB Music, but it struggled with distribution problems. He moved between labels and often had to rely on concerts for income. Though he lived in London for a while and worked with top producers, his financial life stayed unstable. Junior Byles. Junior Byles didn't start out in music. He first worked as a mechanic and later as a fireman. In 1967, he formed a group called The Versatiles with Louis Davis and Dudley Earl. Their songs, produced by Lee Scratch Perry and Joe Gibbs, quickly showed Byles's gift for meaningful lyrics and emotional delivery. Tracks like Just Can't Win and The Time Has Come mixed social messages with catchy melodies. In the early 1970s, Byles went solo and teamed up with Perry again. Together, they made several powerful songs, including Curly Locks, Rasta No Pickpocket, Place Called Africa, and Beat Down Babylon. These songs became anthems, full of spiritual and political messages. By the mid-70s, Byles was a big name in Jamaica. His songs were also loved in the UK, with Curly Locks and Fade Away gaining a strong following. Fade Away, produced by Joseph Hu Kim, became a classic and was later covered by many artists. It also appeared in the reggae film Rockers. Despite his success, Byles's personal life was difficult. The pressures of fame and personal struggles took a serious toll. The death of Haile Selassie, whom Byles saw as a spiritual leader, led him into deep depression. He was hospitalized several times at Bellevue Hospital in Kingston and struggled with his mental health for years. Although he was one of the most unique voices in roots reggae, Byles lived in poverty. He even experienced homelessness in the United States, at times begging for food. He returned to recording in 1989 and 1992 and gave a memorable live performance in 2004, but his living conditions remained humble. Althea and Donna. The Jamaican duo of Althea Rose Forrest and Donna Marie Reid made a splash in the music world as teenagers with their hit song, Uptown Top Ranking, which reached #1 on the UK singles chart in February 1978. At just 17 and 18 years old, they became the youngest female duo to achieve this feat. The song's catchy vocals and clever lyrics, co-written with Errol Thompson, helped it take off. Their debut album, also called Uptown Top Ranking, was released shortly after on Virgin's Frontline label, with the Revolutionaries band backing them. The success of Uptown Top Ranking was both exciting and challenging. BBC DJ John Peel gave the song strong support. and it became a worldwide anthem in reggae circles. However, the duo struggled to match the impact of their debut hit with follow-up singles like Puppy Dog Song and Love One Another. Their next albums didn't get much attention, and they couldn't maintain the momentum from their initial success. Despite the fame, Althea and Donna didn't see the wealth expected from their chart-topping hit due to the music industry's practices at the time, which left them with only a small share of the profits. Their career slowed down, and the duo disbanded after their first album. Though they occasionally performed at reggae festivals later in life, their story remains a classic example of a one-hit wonder, with Uptown Top ranking as their lasting legacy. Burning Spear. From the start, Burning Spear's music stood out for its deep political messages and focus on Black liberation, African identity, and social justice. His early singles, like Door Peep, 1969, set the stage for a career centered on these themes. In the mid-1970s, his work with producer Jack Ruby led to iconic albums like Marcus Garvey, Man in the Hills, and Garvey's Ghost, solidifying his role in the roots reggae movement and earning him a loyal international following. However, his journey in the music industry wasn't without difficulties. Burning Spear faced exploitative practices from record labels, especially during his early years with Studio One and Island Records. The altered version of his Marcus Garvey album by Island frustrated both him and his fans, leading him to create his own label, Burning Music, to have more control over his music and finances. In the 1980s, Burning Spear's desire for independence grew. After working with Bob Marley's Tough Gong label, he moved to Queens, New York, to build a more stable career in roots reggae, distancing himself from the changing Jamaican music scene. He and his wife Sonia founded Burning Music Records in 2002, where he released albums like Free Man and Our Music. Despite earning Grammy Awards for Calling Rastafari, 2000, and Jah Is Real, 2009, the financial rewards were modest compared to the influence and respect he gained. Delroy Wilson. Delroy Wilson's musical career began at an impressively young age. By just 13, while still attending Boys Town Primary School, he was recording for the famous producer Clement Coxone Dodd at Studio One, making him Jamaica's first child star. His debut single, Emmy Lou, was released in 1962, followed by the hit Joe Liges, which made him a key figure in the ska scene and set the stage for many other young Jamaican singing stars. As his voice matured, Wilson smoothly transitioned from ska to rocksteady and reggae, genres he helped define. In the late 1960s, he released several hits, including Dancing Mood, Jerkin' Time, Feel Good All Over, and Rain from the Skies, many of which are now regarded as classics. He worked with other legends like Ken Booth and producers such as Bunny Lee and Joe Gibbs, further cementing his place as one of Jamaica's most soulful and versatile vocalists. His 1971 anthem, Better Must Come, became so influential that it was adopted by Michael Manley's political party as a campaign song. Despite his success and popularity, Wilson struggled financially due to exploitative contracts and unreliable royalty payments, especially during his early years. Even with hits in the 1970s, including Mash-Up Illiteracy and his cover of I'm Still Waiting, his financial rewards were limited. His untimely death in 1995, at age 46 from cirrhosis of the liver, marked the end of a remarkable, though often overlooked, career. Desmond Dekker. Orphaned as a teenager, Desmond Dekker worked as an apprentice tailor and later as a welder in Kingston, where his co-workers encouraged his singing talent. His path into the music industry wasn't immediate. After failing auditions with Studio One and Treasure Isle, he found success in 1962 with Leslie Kong's Beverly's label. His first hit, Honor Your Mother and Father, set the tone for a career centered on respect, morality, and the everyday struggles of Jamaicans. Early songs like Sinners, Prepare, and Labor for Learning continued these themes, while King of Ska marked his rise in Jamaica's ska scene. With his backing group, the Aces, Dekker became one of the island's biggest stars. Dekker's music evolved as Jamaica's sound changed, moving from ska to rocksteady and then to reggae. His 1967 hit 007, Shantytown, and the 1968 anthem Israelites made him an international star. Israelites was the first reggae song to top the UK charts and break into the US top 10, making Decker the first Jamaican artist to achieve global recognition with an authentic Jamaican sound. Despite his success, Decker's personal life remained modest. Earnings from hits like Israelites and It Mek were limited, especially after producer Leslie Kong's death in 1971. Without Kong's guidance, Decker's career stalled, and later releases didn't match his earlier success. He continued to tour internationally and record into the 1970s, but lived simply, far from the extravagant lifestyle of most global stars. Peter Tosh. As a founding member of the Wailers, alongside Bob Marley and Bunny Wailer, Peter Tosh played a key role in shaping reggae's sound and message. Tosh was the only member with formal musical training, teaching his bandmates to play instruments and harmonize while contributing iconic songs like Get Up, Stand Up, and Stop That Train. The Wailers' music, deeply influenced by the civil rights and Black Power movements, combined Caribbean rhythms with American soul, helping reggae reach a global audience. However, as Marley gained more attention in the early 1970s, Tosh's more militant views and uncompromising lyrics often set him apart from the group and in the public eye. Tosh's solo career, which began with the groundbreaking album Legalize It in 1976, was defined by bold political messages. He openly advocated for the legalization of substances and equality, with Legalize It becoming an anthem for activists despite being banned from Jamaican radio. His following albums, like Equal Rights and Bush Doctor, which featured Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, continued to mix catchy rhythms with calls for justice, black pride, and resistance to oppression. Tosh's performances were known for their raw, direct approach, and he famously confronted political leaders at the 1978 One Love Peace concert, enduring beatings and harassment as a result. Despite international recognition and collaborations with artists like the Rolling Stones, Tosh's financial situation remained modest. His outspoken activism and clashes with authorities led to marginalization and violence, limiting his commercial opportunities and preventing him from enjoying the wealth that might be expected of a global icon. Jacob Miller. Miller's reggae journey started in the late 1960s, when he recorded his first session with the famous producer Clement Sircoxone Dodd. While early songs like Love is a Message didn't become big hits right away, they caught the attention of Horace Swaby, Augustus Pablo. This led to a successful partnership, producing songs like Keep On Knocking, Baby I Love You So, and False Rasta, which became reggae classics, especially with King Tubby's dub versions. In 1974, Miller became the lead singer of Inner Circle, a role that shaped much of his career. His lively personality and strong stage presence made him a standout at major events, such as the One Love Peace concert in 1978. Songs like Tenement Yard reflected the struggles of Jamaican urban life, connecting with audiences worldwide. Miller also had a successful solo career, recording popular songs like Forward Jaja Children and I Am a Natty, and later experimenting with more commercial sounds on his album Everything Is Great. Despite his fame, Miller's personal life remained modest. He was known for his generous, carefree attitude toward money, with stories like him throwing all his money in the air to share with friends, reflecting his lack of attachment to material wealth. Even after achieving international recognition and signing with Island Records, Miller's lifestyle did not reflect the trappings of stardom. His voice and image became iconic, particularly after his appearance in the film Rockers and his role as a peace advocate. Yet he lived simply and never accumulated significant wealth or luxury. Which of these reggae stars do you think lived a more modest life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest content.